So guys, this week's TWID is very long, and to save you having to read through it, I've read through it and will now describe to you everything of importance within this TWID. If you want to read it for yourself, as always, I'll have a link in the description, but let's not waste any more of your time and just jump straight in. First off, they cover everything that they talked about inside of this week's live stream, which I've already made a video covering, and they go over all of it, and alongside that there's some challenge stuff going on with the Destiny Tracker team, so you can read all that stuff if you want to. Moving on from that, World's first raid race is back with CB Gray and Evan F1997 hosting a little live stream there covering the raid race. They said they'll talk more about it in next week's TWID and with information on how you can get this brand new emblem, which does look very cool. Bungie at GCX, they're going to be having a Threads of Fate exploring Destiny 2's narrative craft, a little thing going on at GCX, and there's a little link there, so if you want to figure out how to get this emblem, you go there and you'll find out more. They then have a little lore thing going on here with the Elixir over on Kepler, which we are going to skip, and go over to the weapon tuning for Edge of Fate. So machine guns are now going to have a thing called staged reloads. Staged reloads place checkpoints in the reload animation, so when a player cancels a reload animation and starts it again, it will resume from the last checkpoint. This basically means that when you're mid-animation on a machine gun for reloading and cancel it, you won't have to go through the entire reload animation again, so this is kind of just a quality of life thing there for machine guns. Next, glaives reduced projectile tracking strength at a very close range to avoid a behavior that made projectiles less accurate. Reconstruction increased amount of ammo transferred per activation from 10% to 25%. Paracausal affinity added a visible timer to the buff. Kinetic tremors decreased shots to activate on certain weapon types and sub-families. High-impact auto rifles now require 9 hits down from 12. Aggressive and high-impact scout rifles require 5 hits down from 6. Hand cannon subfamilies have received specific tuning. Aggressive hand cannons require 4 hits down from 6. Adaptive require 5 hits down from 6, and precision hand cannons are unchanged and still require 6 shots to activate. 1-2 Punch now works with all melee abilities, and perk active time increased from 1.22 seconds to 3 seconds. Attrition Orbs increased perk progress by 20% across the board, but reduced perk progress by 80% with area denial grenade launches. Note, this is surprisingly not as notable as it sounds, and increased perk progress by an additional 30% on swords. Eager Edge and Valiant Charge. While active, melee search angle is now reduced by 50% at start of lunge range and by 88% at the end of lunge range. This requires the player to look more in the target direction to strike it, improving specific target acquisition in PvE and requiring a more direct look in PvP. Chain Reaction. Threadlings created by weapon perks will no longer activate the detonation from Chain Reaction. Chain Reaction, Dragonfly and Firefly no longer use weapon archetype scaling against combatants and instead use a new perk damage scaling that is more normalized between different weapon types. This buffs many weapons with these perks against most targets. These weapons being fusion rifles now deal 41% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants. Submachine guns deal 43% more Dragonfly and Firefly damage to minor combatants. Auto rifles deal 47% more Dragonfly damage to minor combatants. Linear fusions deal 165% more chain reaction damage to minors, and at least 124% more chain reaction to all other combatants. Swords deal 123 more chain reaction damage to minor combatants, and at least 193% more chain reaction damage to all other combatants. But hand cannons now deal 25% less Dragonfly and Firefly damage to major combatants. Snipers deal 8% less Firefly and Dragonfly damage to minor combatants, and special ammo wave frame grenade launchers deal 6% less chain reaction damage to major, champion and mini boss combatants, and then 14% less chain reaction damage to ultra and vehicle combatants. Next up, champion interactions. So this mainly goes over stuff in regards to exotic weapons having intrinsic anti-champion stuff, but then also how that works with when weapons like that have the radiant effect or are a weapon under the selection of anti-champion mods inside of the artifact. So they go on to note here that this is the new soft rule from now on. Weapons that intrinsically have anti-champion symbols in the weapon tray cannot receive anti-champion capabilities from the artifact or from radiant-like effects. Otherwise, they can receive external anti-champion capabilities and be able to continue their subclass verb anti-champion capabilities. Next up, exotic weapons, Vigilance Wing. Last Stand bonus is now active when running solo in PvE. Hierarchy of Needs, players now gain charges of Guidance Ring with any hit of Hierarchy of Needs and only need 3 charges to deploy the ring. Hierarchy's spawned Guidance Ring duration is increased from 13 seconds to 20 seconds. Hierarchy's spawned Guidance Ring now rotates to face its owner. Players are now limited to 1 Guidance Ring though in the world per player. Spawning a second one will remove your previous ring, and all bows now spawn missiles when fired through an allied player's Guidance Ring. Fixed an issue also where Hierarchy's Seeker missiles would not play detonation visual effects when colliding with world geometry. Dead Man's Tail. Each stack of Cranial Spike now grants 3.4% damage versus combatants, max at 17% at 5 stacks, and plus 1 rounds reloaded. Duality. Added a secondary activator for on black wings, now gives the buff when landing most of the pellets on a target. The Navigator increased damage by 25% in PvE and 5% in PvP when the user has Woven Mail and increased ammo regeneration stat. Wicked Implement is now a rapid fire frame scout rifle, now takes 1 additional hit to slow and to freeze targets to account for the fast fire rate, increased magazine size to 20, and is now intrinsically anti-overload. Heart Shadow increased ammo reserves, reduced cost of heavy attack to 3 from 4, and added defeats while shot in the dark is active, make you invisible once more. Worldline 0 increased lunge distance of the heavy Tesseract attack by 3 meters, removed the ability to chain 2 blink attacks back to back. Added a new effect where defeating a target with Tesseract allows you to Tesseract again for a short duration. These extra blink attacks cost less ammo though and consume less guard energy. Devil's Ruin removed fire on release behavior. Beam is now behind special reload. Kills with the weapon make fire sprites, and picking up a fire sprite enables the special reload. Beam now scorches on hit and ignites on kills, increased magazine size to 20, and is now intrinsically anti-unstoppable. Tommy's Matchbook added a burning screen effect while the player takes self-damage from Ignition Trigger. Other players who are taking self-damage from Ignition Trigger will now have a burning effect surrounding their model. Ignition Trigger, the HUD buff now appears as a bar. While Ignition Trigger is active, the bar charges as you fire the weapon and drains when you don't. So as long as the bar has some charge, Ignition Trigger will remain active. Heatsink. Hipfire self-damage decreased to 50% less than the ADS self-damage, previously 33% less damage, and the Catalyst removed improved health regen. Now final blows while Ignition Trigger is active grant cure ×1 to the user, and Scorch hit on target is unchanged. Winterbite reduced enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from plus 50%. This is to account for this now being able to receive melee damage bonuses from a variety of sources, and is now intrinsically anti-overload. Anti-champion changes. The following weapons have not been rebalanced but now have been given anti-champion capabilities intrinsically. So Queenbreaker's, Salvation's Grip and Dragon's Breath are now all anti-unstoppable weapons, and Tractor Cannon, Darcy, Two-Tailed Fox are now all anti-overload weapons, and Conditional Finality can be either anti-overload or anti-unstoppable depending on which element is active. Then they go over PvP that they're going to be seeing how PvP goes before they implement any changes to general PvP, and then they go over power and progression stuff inside of Edge of Fate, basically letting you know how power is being reset. So everyone will start at 10 power, and the new soft cap, or what they're now referring to as the power band, is going to be from 10 power to 200 power, and you'll be able to get to 200 power literally by doing anything in the game. This includes the entire Edge of Fate expansion pack, event activities, and all legacy content, and even the new redacted raid. They then also state seasonal power bonus. This is now no longer done through the artifact, but is instead done by your gear and weapons instead. And by doing this, you can get up to, I believe, 450 power total. But with Ash and Iron, they're going to be increasing that to 550. And regarding rewards from portal activities, you'll be able to drop up to 500 total power, with Prime Engrams will give you all the way up to the hard cap of 550. Those who reach 500 power will be rewarded with regular drops of the highest tier of weapons and armor, that being tier 5, and this gear comes with both unique aesthetic qualities and the highest stats. In Fusion, they're removing upgrade modules and you'll now be using enhancement cores and unstable cores to level up your armor. Upgrade modules will be able to be deleted upon the Edge of Fate's launch, and you'll then get 500 glimmer and 1 enhancement core back. Next, they go over economy updates in terms of armor masterworking. So this is now the costs and currencies required to masterwork armor, which you can read through here. I'll just scroll past it. You've also got exotic armor down there. Then we go over to destination materials. This is the list of materials that will be safely deleted after July 15th. Finest matter weave, dust-like shards, microphasic data lettuce, barium bow, helium filaments, glacial star wart, and spin metal leaves. Now you can keep these in your vault if you want, but they will have literally no purpose in the game. Activity reward changes. Brave Arsenal weapons will be moved to part of Xur's wares. Only the standard version, non-foil versions of these weapons will be available. Zavala will no longer offer Onslaught attunement. Nightfall weapons are now legacy gear. Nightfall loot pool will be updated to include all previous Nightfall weapons that have origin traits. Nightfall rewards are on a knockout list until all Nightfall weapons have been unlocked. From then on, all Nightfall weapons have a flat drop chance. Grandmaster Nightfalls no longer exist as their purpose and function has been transferred to the portal screen and conquests. You can still experience Grandmaster difficulty, just in other activities. Legacy Ritual, Crucible Gambit, and Vanguard Ops. Ritual Reputation reward tracks have been removed. Ritual engrams have been removed. Legacy Focusing remains, but costs have changed due to the removal of Ritual engrams. Legacy Armor and Legacy Weapons will cost 15,000 glimmer and 3 enhancement cores. Vendor and Reputation rank tracks. Xur will no longer sell legendary armor in the Edge of Fate. All of Xur's legendary armor will be moved to Ada 1, where she will sell them for cosmetic purposes. Xur will now sell 2 exotic armor pieces per class per week. One will be from the existing pool of exotics that Xur has always sold. One will be from Beyond Light, which Queen Lightfall and Final Shape pools. Players must own these expansions the exotics are associated with in order to purchase them from Xur. Xur will continue to sell catalysts, but they have been moved to the Strange Coins offering submenu. Xur will sell exotic class items every week. Players still need to acquire the exotic class items from Dual Destiny or Festival of the Lost before Xur will allow players to purchase exotic class items. Xur will sell 9 legendary weapons per week, 3 weapons per slot. Class-specific swords, which aren't class-specific anymore, are still in Xur's inventory but will not be available every week. Xur has had Brave Arsenal weapons added to his inventory. Xur has had Legacy Nightfall and Trials weapons added to his inventory. Rare chance at Adept weapons showing up. Standard weapons cost 17 strange coins. Adept weapons cost 41 strange coins. Xur has had weapons from Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy added to his inventory. Rare chance at Adept Heresy weapons. Standard weapons will cost 17 coins and 41 coins for Adept weapons. Xur has had Legacy Comp weapons added to his inventory. Xur will no longer sell exotic ciphers, Gambit engrams, Crucible engrams, Vanguard engrams, or upgrade modules. Ada 1. Ada will be offering up to 20 Threader bounties per season per class. Ada's inventory of legacy armors has been expanded to include armors previously distributed via Xur. Legacy armor will cost 15,000 glimmer and 3 enhancement cores. Ada will offer players who have made it to the tower before Edge of Fate a bundle of exotic armor tokens to be used to roll for exotic armors with new stat packages. Players must have unlocked an item in collections before it's eligible for rerolls from Ada 1. These tokens are a one-time offer. These offers will disappear from Ada when all tokens have been spent. No new armors will be added to this in future, so there is no benefit to hoarding tokens. Transmog bounties have been overhauled. PvE bounties can be completed anywhere in PvE activities, no longer sends players to specific destinations, i.e. Blindwell or Altars of Sorrow. PvP bounties can be completed in any PvP mode, and raid in dungeons unchanged from previous versions. Banshee. Reputation rank removed. Bounties no longer provide gunsmith reputation. Dismantling gear no longer provides reputation. Banshee will no longer sell upgrade modules. Gunsmith engrams have been removed. Legacy weapons will cost 15,000 glimmer and 3 enhancement cores. Now for the important one, Master Rahul. Cryptarch reputation ranks have been removed. New exotic armor in the Edge of Fate will be unlocked via completing the legendary campaign and not through Rahul. Unlocked per class. Novel focusing for exotic armors from past expansions will be available to players immediately, with no need to decrypt engrams to unlock it. costs remain the same for novel focusing. Focusing submenus have been reordered to put the most used screen up front. Ghost mod stuff, which I don't really care about, but we'll go over anyway. Previous armor ghost mods, i.e. resistance armor, will be deprecated as they no longer match the stats of armors post V900, which I'm guessing is Edge of Fate. They will be replaced with new set of armor ghost mods. Some activity ghost mods have been deprecated. Plan to add new activity ghost mods in future releases. Osirian ciphers and Nightfall ciphers do not have a use anymore, but are not being removed because they have plans for them in Renegades. Then we have Destiny 2 expansion open access starting next Tuesday, July 8th, up until the 22nd of July. All current Destiny 2 expansions, as well as all 3 episodes, will be available for free on all supported platforms, that being PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Microsoft Store, and the Epic Games Store. And as a cherry on top, all currencies, gear, titles, triumphs, and cosmetics earned during the open access period are yours to keep. Bungie Day, there's a new Twitch emblem. If you gift a sub to any participating Destiny 2 streamer, you'll get this emblem, so best of luck there. Bungie Day sale on their website, and then the player support report, with a whole lot of stuff there about the Destiny 2 content vault updates, which might be interesting for you to read if you are at all interested. And that is everything for this very long TWID, but one final thing to note is that if you are interested in Destiny Rising, it has now an official release date of the 28th of August, I believe. And that's it for this video. If you've enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. I'm very tired now from reading that, so I'm going to end the video now, and I'll see you in the next one.